Greetings, everybody. I am Andrew White. I am the Paizo Digital Products Lead, and I am here right now with Cora from Foundry Virtual Tabletop. Cora, you want to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do?
Yeah, hi everyone. I hope that I'm coming through clearly. I work for Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and I work on our Paizo content development. So when we make premium content modules like the Abomination Vaults Adventure or the Beginner Box or Kingmaker or some of the token packs, I'm usually involved in that. And so today I'm here to maybe talk about some of the things we've been working on recently, because I think the last thing that we released was it was a token pack. It was the character gallery.
Yep,
So,
I think that was, yep.
oh,
Whoops. Whoop,
look
hang
at this.
on.
We
Whoop.
got we got an image
Hide
up.
it. Make it
Okay.
go away. Kill
Oh
it, kill it,
gosh.
kill it all. Kill it with
Oh
fire. Okay,
wow.
let's just pretend you didn't see any of that stuff.
That's a really good.
Um,
Excellent. I'm very okay. Well, should we just go into it? Should we just start? Should we just
yeah,
start
let's
talking about
let's
things?
let's let's start with what I don't know. It may or may not be the worst kept Paizo product secret in Paizo history. I think we accidentally spoiled it 4 times yesterday, and we just spoiled it about 15 seconds ago again. Um, why don't you go ahead and announce it, Cora?
So we actually have two announcements today. The first one is there's a new module that we've been working on. It's another token pack, and it's a bit different from the last two. So the last two that we've done is we worked on the original bestiaries pack, and then there was from Paizo's side there was the monster core token pack, and we then did the character gallery. So that was like an NPC focused one. And so both of the ones that we've worked on are kind of broad in theme. It's like monsters and NPCs. So what we wanted to do with this one is look at some of these rule books that have been published that have all this amazing artwork and find a sort of a cohesive way to bundle a bunch of it together into one product. And I mean, the community were very vocal about what they wanted, and they wanted Book of the Dead, Dark Archives, that sort of thing. So we put together a token pack, which we've called Myth and Magic. Maybe we can, yeah. And it's a token pack that's just a bunch of these sort of magic or mysteries or like occult or esoteric sort of books all bundled together. And it's exactly 648 tokens. And there's some examples there you can see. So if you are looking for magical creatures, spellcasters, lots of undead, this is where you should be. This is where you should be looking. I think it's come out really well, and it's available right now. Or,
Probably.
or, or I should say, in 5 minutes, because I think Andrew White needs to press a button.
It should be in theory live now. I thought we were going to open with the other thing,
Well,
but I think it's live now. If it's not, I'm sure people will tell us. But yes, it should be. If it's not live now, it should be live sometime in the next 5 minutes.
okay.
Um,
So it's about half the size of the last two token packs we've done. It's a bit smaller, which I think is nice because I like the idea of having like a theme for each one. And what we've been doing when trying to choose which books to include, is to try and leave things for future ones. So if we've bundled a bunch of books with magical creatures and the deities, we've got all the core gods, we've got all the eidolons, all that stuff covered now. Maybe in the next one we can think about what's left over. Is it some sort of more techie stuff with guns? I mean, I don't want to. I'm not announcing anything. I'm just saying that there's potential, so it's quite exciting. So the product page for this should be up, even if it's not available for purchase yet. It should be available for purchase, but even if it isn't, on the product page there's a little FAQ with a list of all the sources, like all the books that are included. If people are curious, yeah, I can get a link, can't I? That would be a smart thing to do. There it is. And I mean, just trying to think about, anticipate what people are going to ask. It can work on any system, but if you use it in Pathfinder 2nd edition, then any of the creatures from the system compendiums that have artwork will map to it. So, you know, if you pull out like a stat block from one of the books, then it'll have its artwork assigned already, which is nice. I can't see the chat, so I don't know if there are any questions that people have, like, that I should be answering.
I have a question for you. What
Yeah.
are some of your favorite tokens from that pack?
Oh, so we were going to do a little demo. I was going to show some of them. Do you want to do the second announcement and then swap? Because
Sure, why not? Let's do the
overlapping.
second announcement. We're very prepared, everybody. You can see that.
I was ready. You said you wanted to wait. I was going to make the page live an hour ago. Andrew White was like, no, people will find out too early. It needs to be a secret.
Well, yes. The secret that we already spoiled so many, many times. But
yeah.
I'm trying to do a good job with keeping things under wraps until the last second. I'm just doing a very poor one. Yeah, let's go ahead. Let's move on to the other announcement.
Okay. I just saw a question, someone asking if it's using the Gods from Gods and Magic or Divine Mysteries. It's both. So both books, if they have different art, we have both pieces you could choose. I'll show you in a second. But yeah, so moving to the next one. The other announcement we have today isn't coming out today, but we're also working on an adventure. And it's been a while. We haven't done an adventure since Kingmaker. So it's been, I think, a year and a half or something now. And we have a bit of an image, but it doesn't really show very much. But it's Claws of the Tyrant. So this came out, I think, a month or two ago now. But we've been working on it as an adventure module. And I'm really excited about this one because I love the Gravelands. I love Last Wall. One of my friends, shout out to Spoons, loves the Gravelands, loves Last Wall. And he said he was going to run it. And I couldn't tell him that we were working on it. So if he's watching, there you go. It's pretty cool. We've got maps getting made, which I can show people again in the demo in a second. And one of the things I really like is it ties in with the Myth and Magic token pack, because we've got Book of the Dead tokens and that sort of thing coming out right when we're doing a Gravelands adventure. So it feels very very fortuitous. I'm quite excited about that.
Let's see. Here's another question. If you look up the pages of the gods, will they now have their images tied to their pages now as well?
You know that. Do you mean the deities items in the Pathfinder system? I think those use the holy symbol as the image right now, and I didn't really feel that it was. It didn't occur to me to sort of replace that, but are there journal entries? I think there might be journal entries for the different deities, but we can't really inject HTML into the system. Sorry, I'm getting too technical. The system provides the journals, and we don't really want to mess with those. But it's a really interesting idea. I might talk to Richard about if we can do something with that. If the module's enabled, I don't know.
Question: will the Paizo code work on the token pack? We are finding out about that right now. I will say that while I'm not 100% sure about the code on Paizo.com, all of our Paizo products are currently 20% off on the Foundry storefront, which I believe is the link that Cora shared earlier. So even if the code does not work for us, we should have another option available.
Yeah, so Foundry, it's really funny. We've got our anniversary event. It just happens to fall exactly on top of PaizoCon every single year. So we're also doing a sale, coincidentally, which is kind of fun.
It's always fun when lots of announcements and releases and software updates all happen at the same time.
It makes for a lot of work, but I like it. It's like we're sharing a birthday. So
So
I'm just checking chat for questions.
So if you want to screen share now, Cora, to
Yes.
show off some
I-
of the cool modules that you just announced.
So it's the present button, right? Sorry about, don't use this. Let's see. Okay. You should be seeing a Foundry instance, like a Foundry world. I don't hear you.
I am looking. Wait. Yeah, we're about to get something. Yep, there it is.
Okay. I can't see you anymore. So this is a map from Claws of the Tyrant. This is not a real, this world that I'm in right now. It's a temporary world for this demo because I really didn't want to spoil anything or like show too much. This is one map that I thought was pretty interesting. So the maps for this module, I should mention, were made by Cobalt DM, who's a community member that made some fan-made maps for Abomination Vaults. So it's pretty exciting. And they do have a Patreon. And it's been really good to work with them because, I mean, as you can see, they've made a really great map here. They've done all the 18 maps that are in this adventure for us. But this one, the one that they're most proud of and the one I think is most interesting is it's a sort of a ruined town. I put down some tokens here to take a screenshot earlier, and I left them in because I wanted to have the option to explore with one of them. But what I think is interesting about this scene is it's very big. This is the biggest map we've ever made in any of our premium content. It's actually so big that it's 4 separate images. And I think in the PDF, the original version of this map is like a 10-foot or a 15-foot grid. In fact, I think it's not gridded properly. I think it's a town map, like a town scale map. And then there's individual battle maps for the houses, for each house. And because of the digital medium and you can zoom in, on each individual house, we don't have to split it up into 5 different scenes. We can make it just one sort of big scene, like an open world, and it's quite fun. It means that we're really leveraging, I think, what a digital platform can offer, sort of highlighting the differences between playing digitally versus playing from a book. And I won't mention, I've removed all the creatures that live here, so I don't want to spoil too much about the adventure. So I'm just showing the map. But if you mouse over a building, you can see inside. One of the things that I really like is a really silly small feature. But if you look at the doors are animated now. This is a new V13 thing we did. So I don't know, I like that.
I like it a lot. It's a super minor touch, but it's still a cool one.
It's so good, isn't it? Okay, sorry. So yeah, we'll check out Cobalt DM. And I can talk about some of the tokens as well while I'm here. So this is the character galleries. This is a different module, but it's a useful way to show the art because, the character gallery, there we go. The character gallery can have its sources configured. So I can tell it, I've told it in this case to not load its own art and to only load Myth and Magic. So all of the art that you're seeing here is from Myth and Magic. So it's from the token pack that we just released today. And, the character gallery module lets you filter things. So for example, if you wanted to filter only for undead, or if you wanted to search for Sealer, that sort of thing. And this is a cool way for me to show off some of the artwork because I can filter for deity, and then I can show you, Ashikek and Apsu, make it big. I can create an actor from them to drag the art out onto the map if I want. And so you asked earlier what some of my favorites are. I think a lot of the gods, Spartan, who's the artist that does our tokens, did an amazing job. I think Aradin looks incredibly cool. He's got this like glowing sword. He's got this sort of sash, or I don't even know what this is.
Can we make it so that when you drag Aradin out of the character gallery, he always shows up dead?
That's a very good question. I can kill him. Hang on.
We'll look into that.
There we
That,
go.
that seems like an important system feature to add later.
You're right. You're right. I mean, just, some of this artwork, I have to say, the artwork from Paizo books always impresses me. Like, looking at this stuff. Big fan
The
of
question
theirs.
I always have whenever I'm looking through a new character or monster token gallery is which tokens in here have the most prominent extremities? Which ones do the most exploding out of the frame? Because I shouldn't, but a lot of the time when I'm putting together encounters, that's the primary criteria that I go by.
Yeah,
Not whether
you
they're
don't want to
appropriate or whether
overuse
they'll
it,
kill my players, just
but
how
it's
much
fun,
stuff
isn't it?
explodes out of the frame.
Like,
I'm not a good GM.
I saw a good one for that. So one of the things that I think is cool, because this token pack includes War of Immortals, we have the mythic versions of all the iconics. And I remember Elemental Monk Sejan has some ridiculous, like, glowing. Is he even a mythic? Is this just a subclass? I'm not actually sure. But he's got these like glowing runes around his hands. I think he looks amazing. So I'm a big fan of him. I liked there's a version of Thumbus where he's got his dog. It's pretty good. And another thing is the Eidolons. I mentioned them earlier. I think all the Eidolons look really good. This is cool if if you're playing a summoner and you just want like I mean, the other thing is if you're playing a summoner, you don't have to use any of these guys specifically. So a summoner can definitely just say, well, I'm playing an elemental summoner. Well, okay, not in this pack. This isn't a nature pack. This is undead and divine creatures. But I'm playing an undead summoner. What am I going to use for my character? And they can have a look through and think, oh, I really want to have a ghost pirate as my Eidolon. Like I think a ghost pirate would be cool. So that's my showcase of some of this artwork.
It's pretty
Is there anything
cool.
else I should show? I don't know if I've forgotten now.
Somebody asked, is there artwork for all of the deities? I think you already showed.
So if I filter by deity,
name.
all of the deities is like a trick question, right? Because I want to say yes, but like it's not, because there's infinite, there's so many. All of the core deities, a lot of the non-core ones. So if I just sort of scroll, well, actually you can see I filtered by deity and there's 139 pieces. So we have duplicates for some of them. There's 2 Besmaras. I think there's 3 Seren Rays, that sort of thing. But like, there's 138 deities. So we have all the really big ones. We've got Grotus. I love Grotus having a token is hilarious to me. If I create an active for him, he needs to be bigger.
Grotus just doesn't care enough to pop out of the token. Grotus doesn't need to impress you.
I think this might be more appropriate, but I might be being a bit silly at this point. There you go. It's like Majora's Mask.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, I'm gonna stop screen sharing, I think, but just because I wanna see chat again.
So if we left out your favorite god, please let us know in the digital products panel channel on Discord, and maybe we'll get it into a future token pack.
Maybe, although we didn't leave out my favorites because Milani and Erasni are in there, so we're all good.
Erasni, you say? Well, that's an interesting segue.
It's so coincidental. Given that Claws of the Tyrant is the adventure we're working on. There's some funny overlap there. I have to tell a really funny story So Spartan's also doing the tokens for Claws of the Tyrant. And I was talking to him because we were looking at, there was an NPC, and I was saying, okay, so there's this NPC, they're a follower of Iomade, and we need art for them. They don't have art in the book, but we want to have art in the adventure. Can you think of any like characters that might fit this description? And I hadn't given him a description yet, so I was about to give it, and he starts sending me. He's already on it. He's sending me like paladins of Iomade and champions and clerics and that sort of thing. But the first one he sends is perfect. Like it's exactly fits the description of this NPC from the book. And I'm like, this is so close. Is it the same character? And he goes, oh, well, I can check. I just know off the top of my head what book this is from because it's Spartan. So he goes and he looks, and yeah, it's the same character from like a Lost Omens book 2 years ago. Her art was published there, and he had just found it. And all I had said was, a worshipper of Iomade. And he goes, oh yeah, I know who you mean. So
Nice.
it's really, really fun that we're working on both of these at the same time, actually.
Yeah, our art team also has been amazing about me finding an old JPEG of something and sending it to them and saying like, hey, you know what book this is? And they're all like, oh yeah, this is NPC name, page 67 of first edition source book that came out 15 years ago. It's amazing. Let's see. How long is the sale on Foundry site? Is it also till Monday? It goes through the 31st, I believe.
I'm really impressed you know that because I don't.
If I'm wrong, then somebody will definitely tell me. But yes, I believe that is the case. Another question: the browse and filter from the character gallery is not included in the Myth and Magic module, correct?
Yeah,
that is correct.
I was using the character galleries application because it's just a really visual way to show all the art, but that's a different module. But they work together out of the box. So if you do have that module already, the Myth and Magic artwork will show up in it seamlessly, and you don't have to do anything.
The character gallery itself is a module that comes with a lot of its own art, a huge amount of NPCs. But since that module has come out, we have made an effort to make sure that all of the other token packs that we release add their own art to that gallery. So if you have the character gallery module already and you install NPC Core, all of those NPCs will show up in the gallery as well. And same with Myth and Magic.
Yeah, and I think the adventures that we do, so Beginner Box, Abomination Vaults, Kingmaker, and soon Claws, they all work with it. I'm not sure if the other ones do. I don't think they do, right?
There was a question earlier about the adventure path tokens, whether they'll be usable in the character gallery. And the answer is yes, but there are a lot of them. So it may take us a little while to get all of those modules updated to use dynamic token rings and link to the character gallery. But we are working on that. Token pack before there was a token pack. This is the first of the token pack before there was a token packs.
Yeah.
There may be more. We have an awful lot of books that came out before we started releasing token packs, and they have some really cool art in them. So yeah, if the reception to token packs continues to be as good as it has been so far, we will happily continue to scour all of our old books for cool looking things to put into token rings for you.
That's a really common one for people to ask for, and I think it's because people don't realize how much art is in each book. So they're just like, oh, just do one token pack for all the other books in one go. And I mean, we could, but we'd have to leave things out, and we don't want to leave things out. So
Yeah, the problem also is I think is finding a way to release token packs in a way that you don't have to work too hard to remember what's in what pack. Which I think
I'm quite
is
happy with the
the
identity we've given this one. I feel like there's a cohesive set of books, and when you look at the list, you're like, yeah, I understand why these books were bundled together, and I think that the collection of art is quite focused, and that's really good about it because it means, if you know that you're going to be running like Claws of the Tyrant or Bloodlords, for example, and that you might want a bunch of undead tokens, then you'll know that this is a really good one for your game. But maybe if you're running, I'm trying to think of an adventure, Wardens of Wildwood, then maybe you want to get a hypothetical sort of nature-themed one, which has range of elements and stuff. I'm just making that up. It doesn't exist.
Purely hypothetically.
Yeah, purely hypothetically. So yeah, I think with this one, sort of the God's Reign event influenced our decision on what theme to start with, but I really wanted to get Book of the Dead in because people love Book of the Dead. It's like the #1 thing everyone asks for, and it's Book of the Dead is sort of one of the anchors of this one. It's one of the really big ones. So
I will say that having looked through the gallery, the Flux Wraith from the Book of the
that
Dead
one's so
is my
good.
favorite everything sticking out of the ring token. It's pretty
I put that
cool.
one on. If you go on the store page, the big banner at the top that I made, that one's on there because it's one of the broken mirror pieces all around it. It looks so cool.
One other thing I want to mention before we switch gears is about the Claws the Tyrant token pack, which I think Cora may have alluded to briefly, but one of the neat things about this one is that it also is a return to the original soundtrack thing that we've been trying to pursue for Adventure Paths for a while. The Claws the Tyrant module has a full soundtrack composed by Michael Gelfi Studios, the same people that were working on our Adventure Path soundtracks before, and it is awesome. It is also available for purchase separately. I think if you want to bring that, that particular track is also available as a free promo. So if you bring up the image for that soundtrack, yeah, there we go. I believe that the QR code on the left will take you to where you can purchase the whole soundtrack, but the QR code on the right will take you to the direct download for that one track so you can get a taste of it. And it is really cool. That last track that we were listening to is called Erasni's Reckoning. So it's Erasni all the time today on the stream.
Yeah, very good. As it should be.
Yeah, we'll post all these links and stuff in the panel channel later.
And I'm quite excited about the soundtrack because we've been working with Michael Gelfi Studios, so it's also going to be used in our module as well. So I think that's going to be really cool. I love the idea of working in an official soundtrack. We kind of did it with Kingmaker because we were able to use the Owlcat soundtrack from the video game, which was amazing. That was so cool, and I think it's really awesome that we're getting to do that again.
One last question. Any interesting event macros appear in Claws of the Tyrant? That might be hard to answer without spoiling anything.
Yeah, it's really hard because avoiding spoilers and giving a cool demo are like diametrically opposed goals. But if you remember just a tiny example, when I was showing the scene off, when I was looking at the brewery, there was a point where the floor was partly transparent, and that's because there's a point where the floor can collapse in, and so as a GM, I can see that the floor is transparent, but the players wouldn't know, and there's a little macro to like go. Things like hypothetically, if there's an awakened statue that can move, stand up and turn into a creature and start fighting, those are things that we've always done in our modules. We have a little macro that sort of activates it and makes something happen. I think one of the most complicated ones was in Kingmaker. There was this really complicated puzzle in Armag's Tomb, I think, where like there was a pivoting platform that you had to walk on, and it would tilt depending on where people were standing, and I had to make like a whole bunch of different versions of the tile that would show which way it was inclined. That was really fun to do.
Okay. All right. So before we move on to talk about the system, let's switch gears and let's talk real shortly about Starfinder. I don't know if you've heard, there is a second edition of Starfinder coming out in just a few months, and it's shaping up to be pretty cool. And because it's cool, we are planning to support it in Foundry as much as we can. We have some members of the system dev team who are going to be talking to us about that process in just a few minutes. But we are also going to be fully supporting the next season of Starfinder Society, which starts at Gen Con this year. And we are going to be releasing a full deluxe module for Murder in Metal City, which is going to be the first big adventure release for Starfinder 2nd Edition. There it is. Look at that right now.
I love that
Cool
image.
image.
I've got a little rat right here.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Yeah, I think Jenny Jarzabski may have run some of that on stream yesterday. I'm not 100% sure. He had a demo that we recorded earlier, and that showed off some of the pre-gens and some of the scenes. So that should be super cool when that finally comes out. Also, I have been informed that there have been some rumblings about the Galaxy Guide module, to which I will say, we weren't supposed to know about that yet, but that is, in fact, something that we are looking into trying to bring to Foundry. Something that we've been wanting to do for a while is come up with a gazetteer type module that includes setting information, because obviously setting information is something that we have not released through the ORC or through the OGL, and as such, it is not in any of the systems that we, any of the Starfinder or Pathfinder systems for Foundry. But the question is finding a way to take what is essentially a lot of information and a lot of images and package it in a way that makes it useful for use in games. We thought about trying to do it with Pathfinder as well. But Starfinder, I think, presents an interesting opportunity for us to try and do something like that, specifically because the nature of playing a game in Starfinder involves traveling between wildly different environments fairly often, especially if you're in a galaxy-spanning campaign. So being able to collect a lot of information about, say, Akaton in one place and provide you with all of the maps that we've ever produced for anything on Akaton, or a bunch of cool backdrops that you can show to your players if you're landing on Akaton, or the sounds of Akaton. Just a bunch of general cool assets and information that you can use to set the scene for your players when they enter a new area is something that we think would be fairly cool. We can figure out a good way to do that. So I can't make any promises as to when it'll be coming out, but it is something that we are actively digging into right now because we think it presents a lot of cool opportunities. And especially since Starfinder 2e is just getting off the ground, that gives us an opportunity to both start fresh and incorporate all of the material from first edition, which is still canon. So no Octurne stuff is probably going to make it in there, but there's plenty of other things that that remain useful for campaigns going into second edition. So keep an eye out for more information on that, which we will be providing as we have it. And also in retribution for leaking that, Starfinder team, I am going to leak the upcoming 16-volume Morlamaw focused adventure path, which will be coming out soon. That's a complete lie. That's not going to happen. Don't hold them to it. Complete lie, made it up. Unless, I don't know.
I mean,
anything could happen.
Could be.
All right. Well, let's move on now to talking with the system dev team, the volunteer system devs that make all this stuff possible by working on the Pathfinder 2e system and the upcoming system, Starfinder 2e system. You guys want to go around and introduce yourselves?
All right. Starting from, I guess I'll start. I'm Carlos Fernandez. Sometimes people online call me Soup. I am an open source developer contributing to the Pathfinder 2e system on Foundry VTT.
I'm Ian, also known as Takeo. I'm also like Soup. I work on the Pathfinder system on Foundry VTT. I'm one of the data coordinators.
I'm Simon, known as Dire Weasel. Yeah, I'm the newest data entry coordinator for the Foundry system.
Cool. Well, thanks, guys. I just want to thank, on behalf of both Paizo and the community, I want to thank you guys for all of the amazing work you've done on that system. I think that it is not an overstatement to say that pretty much the gold standard when it comes to automation on Foundry Virtual Tabletop, and has done played an amazing role in driving the community around that system on the platform. So, so I just want to start out with a couple of basic questions to run by you guys, because I'm sure people are interested in seeing how this is going to shape out once everything goes live. Starfinder and Pathfinder are going to be two different systems on the platform. And they both are going to have different supplementary content modules. So what is different between those?
So my thoughts are that once you have any system and you get its complementary like content module, the end result will be 90% the same between each other. There will be minor differences, or likely to be. While we don't know exactly the details, we can imagine that, for example, the archaic trait wouldn't show up in Pathfinder with Starfinder content, but it would show up in Starfinder with Pathfinder content. There's also how to handle duplicate content, like the toughness skill feat, which will, general feat, which will show up in both systems. We would likely present the version that is native to the system rather than giving you a duplicate. And we'll try to set up UUID redirect so that if you try to pull from one version, you'll get the other. There might also be some handling of rules conflicts if they come up, depending on the system.
So the plan is also for, just as with the system itself, is for all of the content modules that we've released for Pathfinder to be compatible with the Starfinder system, and vice versa.
Yes. Yeah, so anything premium modules and third-party modules, that won't be the case on day one, because we need some time to get a solution that will let us work around some limitations. But that is something that we have been, looking at. We don't want to make it so that, you just bought your fancy third-party module, or you bought, Gatewalkers, and for whatever reason you want to run it in Starfinder. Ideally, we would like that to just work. We can't promise that it will, but we are definitely that is a thing we are aware of. People will want to do. We want them to be able to do it. We want to solve that problem if we can. But
So there will be some rough edges, but if
Yeah.
you want to play through Abomination Vaults as a shape-shifting starfish with an assault rifle, we'll do what we can to make it happen.
Yeah, and right now that would look like you play in Pathfinder as a system and then add the Starfinder content through a module. So it's not like it's undoable, but right now Foundry just has there's a limitation to mixing content between two different systems, because no other system on Foundry has done this kind of thing where they've split itself. We're going to be the same code base. When we build a new version of Pathfinder, our build process will spit out a new version of Starfinder right alongside it with all the same bug fixes, all the same everything. So it's not like we're duplicating effort there. We're trying to be as clever as we can be about this.
If I may add something. For adventure modules, it would just be you run a respective system. Most of the concern that we can't get day one for technical reasons is the content modules. Like, for example, shout out to Battles with Dragons. What we might end up doing, no promises, is that ideally it should work. There's just some security stuff in Foundry VTT to prevent you from importing stuff from wildly different systems that we would need relaxed, but the right way isn't certain yet. It might be possible for us to release at least a guide on how to tweak a module meant for one system to run on the other. Like, that should at least be possible in the meantime until we get a good solution.
Yeah, and I am, I'm the one that makes most of the Battlezoo content, me and Spartan, and so that is definitely on my mind. That I want people to be able to do it, and I want people to be able to do it in a way that doesn't involve them installing a bunch of new software like Node, NPM, and all that stuff. Like, I would like ideally to just have a quick solution, but that's probably going to be something that Foundry will have to work with us on, and we are working with them. Like, the Foundry team is aware that this is a goal of ours. But, it is very much one of my main concerns about splitting the system into two. There's a lot of reasons to split the system into two, but, this is one of the things that it creates a kind of headache for, and it's something that I'm aware of, and I want to tackle it,
I will add that both Foundry Virtual Tabletop and the design teams here at Paizo have all been working together with the system dev teams to get these issues ironed out. So we've got a lot of people working on these things together to try and make it as smooth a transition as possible. There's a lot of stuff going on. There's a lot of moving parts in any sort of role-playing game system. I think that the Pathfinder and Starfinder systems are designed in such a way that that it is both challenging but approachable. And I just wanted to thank everybody who's been involved in that process. It seems to be going well so far, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it goes. We have another question, super important question before we move on. What is written on your wall?
My wall?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that is where my wife's desk used to be, and that is, somebody told me that this is the place where everything's better and everything's safe. It's a lyric from a Toad the Wet Sprocket song.
Okay.
She put that over her desk during COVID when we were both working out of the same office. So
did you actively choose not to put your desk where everything's better and everything is safe?
I put my desk under a bare blank white wall next to a giant whiteboard because I'm a physicist and whiteboards are, the greatest thing ever invented. If
You're
I could
not
just make a
wrong.
wall out of whiteboards, I would.
But think about the safety.
Yeah.
One of the things I miss most about the Paizo office is having whiteboards on the walls with a bunch of just random stuff on them. I think there was a flow chart on my first day I walked in. There was a flow chart about whether or not aboleths created things. And I was like, yes, I'm glad. I'm finally here. I've arrived. This is the place. Let's see. What do we have here? Small TTRPG creator shops will have to start testing about both systems too. To some extent, I think that it's the early days of this are going to be probably challenging, but also probably not as challenging as some people might think, depending on the complexity of the module, I suppose. I think that the guide that you were just talking about having for third-party creators will probably go a long way towards helping out with that.
Rule elements will be identical between the two systems. Or if they're not identical, they will be 99% identical. Like the any differences will be very minor.
What I was talking about primarily was for end users that one could, because if everything goes fine, all you really would have to do to import a third-party module would be to change all of the PF2E strings to SF2E strings. But what third-party modules will have to do to support both systems, we cannot actually tell you how difficult that would be at this time until we know what the solution is going to look like.
Yeah. I have a solution that will probably work for me for Battlezoo that I can probably get out on day one of the Starfinder system, but it will involve a, pretty lengthy build and extract process that I don't want to inflict on everybody that just has a module up on itch.io or something, because it's going to be a very technical process. So I want something that is cleaner and nicer for everybody to be able to use without jumping through a bunch of hoops.
Cool. So I have a question for anybody who feels like answering one. I know from the back and forth that we've had that there have been some of the challenges that you guys have run into are simply logistical ones, but there have also been some entertaining interactions between various rules elements. I'm wondering, without spoiling anything, obviously, I'm wondering if you guys can share any of those and what you did to solve them, if they have in fact been solved yet.
So one of the more interesting ones is that, so this is the sort of thing that will happen whenever you try to put any system into code. It is not the fault of anyone in particular. This is just what happens when you write text on a page and you have to write a lot of it. Then when you put into code, certain things end up a certain way. So like, for example, technically, if you throw a tech knife, it was a gun because it is a ranged throwing weapon with the tech trait. That was not
If you throw the
intentional.
knife, it becomes a gun in flight. I mean,
That sounds like Starfinder to me, like from what I know.
that sounds like an awesome
That
idea.
might be
for a deliberate
intentional.
product.
We should ask, you know. They might have meant for it to do that.
Well, we'll see. So far, what we're observing is that was not intentional. The other thing that I got illustrated on recently, and this was actually my fault, are that actually we make certain assumptions when we go into one system into another. Like, for example, in Starfinder, a lot of the guns, amazing, by the way, some of them use projectiles and they have a magazine. But in Pathfinder, a magazine is a specific, bespoke, discrete item that you load into the weapon all at once that you purchase as an individual item. In Starfinder, they're not that. That's just the number of bullets that the thing can hold. And learning that difference was very helpful for the implementation. Which, by the way, we are completely reworking ammo in the Foundry system. Look forward to it.
I do. So having been digging around in the system in general for a while now, and as players yourselves, obviously, again, without spoiling anything. So stick to things that have been revealed so far in the playtest. What is your favorite element from Starfinder 2nd Edition that you're looking forward to when it comes in full release? That can be something that you're looking forward to seeing automated in the system, be a class you're interested in playing, could be a monster that looks really cool because it has a lot of extremities that stick out of the token ring, could be anything like that. What are you most excited about? Let's start with TKO.
I love weird ancestries. Like my next Pathfinder character is going to be a very strange Circe. And so I love that, Starfinder is launching with 15, I think, ancestries day one.
Mm-hmm.
And, some of them are very weird, and I love that. So, I thrive on just, weird little guys in my games. So I'm happy about the choices that are there and getting to sort of automate some of these weird, weird things that are coming out of the Starfinder team's head.
I also enjoy that. I used to play Star Wars RPG fairly regularly, and the joke was that all of my characters would be based on some random character who shows up in the background scene of one crowd scene in the Phantom Menace or something. It's like, oh, the guys with the long skinny fingers or something. I can't remember the names of them, but I think one of them was a
16-page Wikipedia article.
Are the Geonosians the guys with the long necks, or are they the bug guys? I can't remember.
Geonosians are the bug guys, and they make the battle droids. Come on.
Who are the ones who make the clones? The ones with the long necks. What?
Kaminoans.
Okay, thank you. Man, it's been too long. I need to start a new Star Wars game.
Embarrassing to still remember that.
Soup, how about you?
I'm super looking forward to guns. Augmentations are also very cool as well. I just love sci-fi settings. I kind of want to run a spaghetti western in Akaton as well.
Oh yeah, that would be awesome. How about you, Dire Weasel?
I think I'm looking forward to being able to bring some of the tech stuff back into Pathfinder. I mean, there are adventure paths kind of based around that kind of thing. So that's going to be kind of interesting to kind of veer it off in other kind of weird directions.
Yeah, it will definitely be interesting. I don't know what the plans are for that yet, because I don't know what the Pathfinder system design team is up to. But I would love to see a revisit of some of the Numeria stuff at some point in the future. And I am hopeful that having introduced some of these weird Starfinder tech traits and everything, that will become more of an option. Because what I'm looking forward to is taking Kingmaker and reflavoring it as an alien invasion, where you are just a bunch of random aliens setting up an outpost on this weird little backwater planet. People still use swords.
So
and
good.
slowly taking it over so that you can then signal to have the mothership and the fleet arrive to wipe everybody else out. Should be fun. All right. Well, one thing that we do want to mention that I think I can't remember if I mentioned it before when I was talking about Murder in Metal City, is that Murder in Metal City will be releasing very closely after or at Gen Con, depending on how quickly we can put it together. It will not likely actually use the full Starfinder 2E system, because the full Starfinder 2E system is not likely to be finished by then for a number of different reasons. One of which is the fact that as an open source product, it can't include a bunch of stuff that hasn't been released to the public yet. So that system is going to be released later. And in the meantime, when we first launch the Murder in Metal City adventure itself, it will probably still make use of the playtest module that we currently have right now that we use to power the playtest adventure pack. But
Yeah,
that will eventually. Go ahead.
I was going to say so if the playtest or if the Starfinder system is going to be delayed significantly, then we will probably release all of the data in the existing playtest module. It just won't be playtest anymore. So like we have the Galaxy Guide data in there now. That's not playtest material. That's actual material. And we'd probably do the same thing for the full release stuff, because it's easy enough for us to move it from a module to a system.
Cool.
So it's not like we're duplicating a whole lot of work.
Right. So one way or the other, though, it will eventually be fully supported by the system when the system is ready. And in the meantime, the effort will be made to make sure that as much of the full release content is still available, whether it's through a module or otherwise, when that system goes live. And that is a module that I'm really looking forward to. That should be a fun one to play with as well. Let's see here. Q&A here. How are you handling? Oh, that's a good question. How are you handling the currency exchanges?
Remember when I said that the system would be 90% the same, and there'd be like a 10% difference depending on which system you run with what content module? Basically that. It seems, I can imagine that some people might want to mix the currency, but I haven't had an idea for what that would look like yet. We would have to change how we represent data in the backend, though, for that. Right now, we denote currency as like each individual denomination in the data. We might want to just put a number instead.
Cool.
Yeah, there's some questions.
At least for
about,
prices.
Yeah. Yeah.
Another question here. Cowboy hats in Starfinder when? That's a good question. I think that's a question for the Starfinder team. I will say that you do get to participate in a cattle ranch or cattle drive in the Fly Free or Die adventure path. I don't remember whether or not you get a cowboy hat out of that, but there is a picture in the module of a Skittermander wearing a cowboy hat. So they exist. They canonically do exist in the Starfinder universe. So there's always the possibility that something will be done with that later. We can hope. Starfinder team, if you're listening, let's make it happen. Also, I apologize for the more Lamont thing. Please don't kill me. Rue 5-minute warning. Okay. Well, I think unless anybody has anything else to bring up, or anybody else has any additional questions, we can start wrapping everything up then. Does anybody have anything that they want to talk, any specific things they want to bring up, or anybody else have any further questions? All right. Well, great. Thanks everybody for joining us. Awesome look at some of the stuff that's coming out soon, stuff that's coming out less than soon, and just what is in the future for both the Pathfinder and the Starfinder 2E systems. I'm super psyched to see where all that goes and excited to playing in it. So thanks to Cora and to Kale and Soup and Dire Weasel and Rue for putting all this together. Have fun. I'll talk to you again next time.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you very much.